Hi, I'm going to show you my roof patch. Now underneath this strip of metal, I have butyl tape all the way around it. Now I still have to go around it with Dicor. I've already started here. Now the one problem I ran into, I did use 1-inch screws. In some places the roof is caved in so bad it actually went through the ceiling. Am I going to pull them out? Absolutely not. I'm just going to cut them and work around them because I want this down. I want it to stay. I may get some 1/2-inch screws. I don't know. To replace the ones that went through with some smaller screws. And once again, I'm going to go all the way around it and over the screw heads with Dicor. I used, I don't know if you can see that, little screws with the square in the heads. Let me show the inside. See right here, the screws are just a little bit too big. Honestly, I just don't give a damn. As long as it doesn't leak, I can just trim these down right here. I have to work on this whole inside anyway and pull most of this down. I did use butyl tape underneath it. This is the white butyl tape. It's like white putty. I ordered 30 feet of it. I used, let's see, 6, 12, probably about 15 feet putting that one patch up. Here's the screws I used. And before I used the screws in here, I took one of my small drill bits and I did drill a hole through the metal. Now you can use any type of screw you want. This is the Phillips. This is from my vent, what was left over, and this is what I used. Let's see if I can get some light in here. There we go. I used the squares. And before I put the screws in, these are self-tapping metal screws, but I did go ahead and drill through the metal into the butyl tape, and then I went with the screw the rest of the way. That way the butyl tape would get around the threads of the screw. Let's see. Right here. Now once again, you can use any type of screw you want. I used these square ones because they were cheap. I got 100 of these things for, I don't know, I don't even remember. But they were fairly cheap. They were like $10 or something like that for 100. These are 1-inch. I did order some 3/4-inch screws as well. But honestly, I'm not really worried about that sticking through. I can absolutely back these up and replace them with smaller screws if I want to before I go ahead and coat the rest of that with Dicor. But to be in all honesty, I just don't really care. I mean, most of this ceiling over here on this side is decent. It's not too bad until we get to the front right here. I am going to have to make another, I do have more metal for another one for the front of the camper. Let's see, where did I, in fact it's right there. Each one of these is 6 inches across. So, and I already measured it for the length that I need for the camper going across. Now each one is 6 inches across. Now if you're going to use a Turnabond, and if your Turnabond is failing and it's just not holding up, you can absolutely leave that Eternabond down. And if you cut your metal 6 inches, your butyl tape on both sides, this is a piece left over from my vents, but when your butyl tape's on there on both sides, here and down here, there's plenty of room in the center for that Eternabond to set, if that's what you want to do. I didn't pull the Eternabond up that was already up there. I just went over it. Because I would have had to scrape all that and everything else, and that's a lot more work than I wanted to do. I just want to make sure it's sealed and it doesn't leak. This is definitely going to make it not leak. So, butyl tape, a piece here, all the way across on both ends. I doubled it on the ends and made sure to crank it down very good on the ends. A piece on each side, and in the middle you can leave it hollow, or you can use a Eternabond, or you could actually put another piece of butyl tape down the middle if you wanted to balance that out and make sure the center stays raised up. But anyway, I wanted to show you, this is the most recent update. It is going to be raining tomorrow, and that's why I did this today. Unfortunately, I am out of Dicor right now. And you can see the vents are still in. I haven't really been doing much because it's been snowing and raining, and then it gets warm and the snow melts, so the roof is wet. So I haven't really been doing a whole lot. But it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And that's how I patched my roof. Once the Dicor comes in, I will be going over the whole thing with Dicor, including the screws. You can see I started here, starting to level out. And there you go. There's my patch. And that should keep it from leaking, especially with the butyl tape underneath. I think you can see it sticking out a little bit in some places. And you're probably going, how did I cut that? Okay, to cut your metal, I used a metal cutting blade on my skill saw. I did have some extra metal cutting blades. Let me get out here and show you. And it cut right through it. You can't cut that by hand, but be very careful cutting that by hand. You're not going to get a straight cut. And these were like $6 a piece. This is the one I used on Cassie's car, my girlfriend Cassie, her car, when I cut through the trailer arm, whatever it is, trailing arm. So you can tell it's really wore out on the sides there. And I did replace it with a new blade, and it went right through that metal. So use a skill saw and use a metal cutting blade, just a cheap one, to cut through that. And that way you don't have to try to cut it with snips and may perhaps cut yourself. It is a lot easier if you have two people, maybe one to stand on it and the other to cut it, because it's pretty flimsy. But as you can tell, it's, well, getting there. And I'd let you know, I said I'd let you know about the updates. And that's an update. And that's it. And once I get the Dicor over it and put the rubber roof coating over it, that should definitely not ever leak again. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good day. Bye.